Why people with bad management skills have bad credit. All right, I want you to think about it this way. What is the purpose of the consumer report? The consumer report was designed, and it was intended for accurate reporting of a person's financial habits and or behavior. What does that mean? How do you handle your creditors? How do you handle institutions that extend lines of credit? Are you trustworthy? Are you credible? Like these little nuances, right? The consumer report was designed solely as to report your financial behaviors to interested parties like banks, auto dealerships, and different firms and institutions when you go there to apply for something, in this case, an extension or a line of credit, and they're able to say, hey, I don't know the rain from anywhere, right? He's somebody from Jamaica, but let me see if there's a record anywhere that gives me an overview of the rain's habits. That's where your consumer report comes in. So now they take your consumer report and then they observe it. They see your payment history, how are you handling the amount of lines of credit that you got, which is your utilization, how long you've had credit, because that's very important, right? Are you new? Did you just start getting lines of credit and you're applying everywhere? That's a red flag. New credit, how often are you applying? A mixture of credit. What's your mix? Do you only have credit cards? Are you an authorized user? You don't have any trade lines, any primaries for yourself, or are you just using other people's trade lines where you're piggybacking off their information? So these are some of the things that they look at for underwriting, and that's kind of what gauges if they're going to extend lines of credit to you or not. So whether you want to believe it or not, the fact is the fact, and that's the purpose of it. Now, what it has been used for is a completely different situation. So, educational wise, a lot of people are not able to manage their finances correctly because of a thing called inflation. Inflation and education. So, in my personal opinion, listen, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an economist. I'm talking about my 5 year of studying credit and finances, financial habits, financial literacy. I'll give you my expert opinion, right? So this is what I've noticed. The education as it relates to credit is wrong. Like they don't have it in schools, they don't have it in college. You learn everything else but the most important thing. Like they tell you, oh, the cow jumped over the moon, the little dog laughed to see such fun, and the dish ran away with the spoon. What dish ran away with what spoon? Like at what point does a cow jump over the moon? But yet these are the things they're teaching in schools, and something as simple as a profit and loss statement. How do you balance a checkbook? What's income? What's expense? What's cash flow? Like these essential, like y'all hear me getting passionate, right? Calm down the rain. Saying it more energetic don't make it more correct. So calm down. Okay, I'm back. The thing that is so important, it controls where you live. It controls the type of vehicle you drive. It controls the amount of money goes in your bank account. It controls the amount of interest rate you're paying. It controls the level of employment that you get, if any, because if the job requires a security clearance and your credit is trash, you are not getting it. It controls sometimes, in some instance, business relationships. It controls you having the ability to start and get a business funded, or getting grants or loans to start your business, right? It is so important that like they had to make a whole law about credit. It's called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And in this law, they tell you that your credit is your reputation, your mode of living, your character, your general reputation. For something so important, why was it not taught? It wasn't taught because they needed people to have bad management skills. And you're about to say, Lorraine, why do you say that? Yes, America thrives off of people with bad credit. The subprime market is the most vicious market, and it's where they make the most money. Why do I say that? I want you to just unplug from the matrix for a little bit. Just unplug from the matrix for a little bit, and let's use common sense. You're not taught anything at all in school about credit. They're not going to teach you that, right? They're just not, right? The next thing is the information that you got on credit came more than likely from your mom, your grandma, your grandfather, somebody in your family. And guess what? They got bad credit too. So how is someone with bad credit giving you advice on credit? Makes no sense. The third thing is, this system wasn't designed for you. You think this fair and accurate credit reporting was designed for you? No, it was not. We were misinformed. Credit is bad. Cut your credit cards up. Throw them in the washing machine, right? Use it to only buy gas, only buy groceries. So while we're penny pinching and handling these tools, these financial tools inaccurately, we got our counterparts. That's using credit cards to buy real estate. They're liquidating credit cards. They're starting businesses. They're funding their business bank accounts off of credit cards, off of business credit cards, because we know what? Business credit cards don't report to your personal credit, right? They're over there killing the game, setting up their families for generational wealth, and you're worried about buying groceries with a damn credit card. Again, Doreen, you're getting too passionate. Calm down, calm down. So the bad management skills that they teach you, because they teach you nothing. So this is where the bad management skills come from, because if you don't learn how to properly manage, automatically you're going to be a bad manager. It just goes without saying. I don't care what any of you want to say. If you are not taught how to properly manage a thing, you will be a bad manager. And that is why the subprime market smiles when they see black and brown people. Yes, you heard me correctly. It smiles when they see black and brown people come in for lines of credit. Why? Because black and brown people are the biggest consumers in the American economy. Black and brown people outspend everybody else. And for some strange reason, even though you're broke as a joke and ready to choke, we've equated spending with happiness. Like, we equate spending the 3 months that we finally got to keep from our paycheck, and we spend that back into a system that cares nothing about your management skills and how you manage your business, your finances, and your credit. So let me explain. Management of credit comes through an informed and educational, I don't want to say the word demeanor, but being properly trained, right? Being properly trained on how to manage credit. What does that mean? Knowing the 5 factors of credit: your payment history, your utilization, age of credit, mixture of credit, and new credit. How does that affect you as an individual, and how does your behavior as an individual affects your financial reputation, which is what banks, firms, and auto dealers see when you go for different lines of extension of credit, right? You listen to your grandma, and because you listen to your grandma, now you got bad credit. You weren't taught anything about money management. You weren't taught about paying your credit cards back, because what you were told, oh, just pay this and let it go to collection, it will fall off your credit, right? I know. I've been around the block. I may not have been born here, but I've been in this game long enough to hear thousands of people's report on things that happened to them and why they're in the position that they're in right now. So what does that mean? It simply means that our people need to be informed about the use of credit. And that is why the Truth in Lending Act was created, right? So going back to bad credit management and how the subprime market smiles. When a person got bad credit and you go for an approval, you're basically shooting in the dark. So basically you're saying, I'm going to apply, but I'm going to hope something hits. That's it. You know the credit is bad, but you can't get a job, you can't get an apartment, you can't go on vacations correctly because all your money is being paid in interest rate, right? You can't keep the job because you're a bank manager You're living hand to mouth. You're trying to live like the Joneses. So every time you get paid, you have to pay your bills. And then you over leverage on the credit card because you're trying to impress someone that does not care about you. So because they took a trip to the Maldives, you go book an all-inclusive trip to somewhere in the Caribbean, spending 10 days knowing that you don't have the finances and the capabilities to do that. Now you have a $15,000 or $20,000 credit card debt. Boom, you scored 10 because of your utilization, 165 points. Boom, you were late on a few payments because now you're living hand to mouth. You're figuring out, should I pay the car note? Should I pay rent? You got hit with a late payment. So now your score got hit again up to 192.5 points with late payments. So together now, because you're maxed out on the credit card and you're late, you now lost anywhere between 200 to 357.5 points, accounting for your late payment and your utilization, right? So now you go to a subprime lender somewhere, and they're like, okay, I think we can make this happen, but I'm going to need a down payment of $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Sounds familiar? We can make it work. I know you've had this old car for a while and you want a new car. We can make it work, but we need a bigger down payment, right? And then you go scratch all of that money up and throw it to a dealership when, beloved, you could have just fixed your credit. You could have used less than $2,000 or $3,000 to fix your credit. And then you would be paying anywhere between 2 and 5% on that interest. But because you did not, you are now paying anywhere between 15 and 27% on that interest rate. Not to mention, it's not even a brand new car. It is a used car. How do I know? It happened to me when I didn't know anything about credit. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not something that somebody told me. I am telling you, when I was ignorant about the information pertaining to credit, I was taken advantage of. I was a victim of subprime lending. Everything happened, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the most expensive things you will ever do. So why does bad management skills equal bad credit? Because if you're not taught how to properly use credit, use within your means. So if your monthly expenses come up to $2,000 per month, right? You shouldn't be spending $5,000 on a credit card. You shouldn't, right? If you're getting paid $3,000 a month and your monthly expenses is $2,000 a month, your monthly expenses should be ran through your credit card. You should not be using your debit card to pay anything. You should be running your expenses through your credit cards, and then now you're using your income from the debit or from the checking account to pay back the credit card. One, the credit card is protected. So if the information ever gets compromised, the liability is not on you. The liability goes back to the bank. And guess what? They'll cancel it, reverse the charges. You're not on the hook. Go about your business. Have a great day. New card is in the mail 5 to 7 days. Boom, right? So the subprime market loves to smile at you because a person with an 800 credit score or an 805 or anything above 740, like I think anything above 740, you should be able to get some really good interest rates. So we're talking now interest rates below 6%, right? Interest rates below 6%. All right, cool. They're making some money. But you see a person with a 500 credit score, a 600 credit score, they can charge anywhere from 15 to 27%. Now, some of you are going to say, oh my God, but guess what? You don't also know. The interest rate that they are charging you, if you don't know your state usury, 9 times out of 10, this is a criminal offense where they are charging more than your state usury law allows. But because you don't know consumer law, guess what? You got bad credit. So these dealerships, these banks, these institutions, they make so much money. And I'm going to show you how they get paid 5 times. So the first thing you need to recognize is this. You're going to be paying double-digit interest rate off the rip, right? Second thing is they more than likely will ask you for a large down payment, right? They got paid again. All the payments that you are making, right? In the finance charges and insurance policy that's built in the event that if you default, it protects the creditor, it protects the life of the credit. right? Then they sell it to a collection. Then they charge the account off. They got paid 6 times off of one account with somebody with bad credit. Not to mention if it's a vehicle or a collateral, they're going to repossess the collateral and sell that collateral. So now we're talking about being paid 7 times. 7 times for one thing from a person with bad credit versus being paid only one time with somebody with good credit. So who do you think the most money is made from? Somebody with bad credit. The persons or the people or the demographic with the bad credit, the banks make the most money from. Not to mention, if you're living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, you will encounter maybe one or more late payments. Each late payment has a late payment fee. Multiply that by the amount of people living paycheck to paycheck. They make billions off of late payment fees alone. So if you think that you having bad management skills is just life, it is not life, it is by design. When you got bad management skills, your management skills for your finances is also off. You live above your means. You try to live like the Joneses. They got you with late payments. They got you with your credit being bad. Now they can subprime lend to you. Now they can get paid 7 times. It's a system. What can I say? Listen, follow for more, all right? Let's go.